Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 383rd episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today we have Mr. Todd Hockenberry. We're going to get into inbound marketing, how to build a great company by having people call you, which is always fun. It's always mo better from a positioning standpoint, because you need to negotiate from a position of strength. And if people are reaching out to you, that helps in a big way. 382, we had Andy Paul just published that. Really good guy. You may notice a trend in a lot of these recent episodes over the last several months about people being human. And Andy Paul or Andrew Paul, he's a sales trainer with a human focus, which I really like. Coming up after Todd, we've got Ryan Cote. We talk about the next phase of marketing. Committing to multiple mailings. So I've always said multimedia, multi-step is how you need to be following up and engaging with your prospects and your customers. So that's why he's on, because we get into the things that I believe in. And so creating that type of sequence is important. I'm just sent a proposal out, got the verbal approval. Now we're putting the ink to paper. I'm helping a company do exactly this. They have HubSpot as their CRM. They have a growing sales team, but no continuity, no systems that keep everything consistent throughout the company. So I'm spending the next 90 days helping them automate, integrate, dominate. We're creating the sales cadence. We're working with marketing to tie in the messaging so it's consistent when those leads are handed over to the salespeople. So if you need that type of help with your CRM, we're actually connecting that to Salesforce for them because their operations department needs Salesforce for operations and for tech support and running services and tickets. So the marketing and sales team will run HubSpot and they'll tie that over to Salesforce. So a little bit complex, but not too much, but that's the kind of stuff we can handle. I haven't talked about that a whole lot, but if you need help getting more out of your CRM, let me know. If you need help with your sales enablement, getting the right tools at the right time to your salespeople to close more sales, I can do that. And creating even the messaging. What do those voicemails sound like? What does the opening lines sound like when you reach a decision maker? What is the cadence, right? Do you follow up every day, twice a week? Do you follow up every other day for 3 weeks? How do you incorporate direct mail, text messaging, even social media into this? That's what I can help you do. So if you need that kind of help, let me know. Go to thesaleswhisper.com. Hit the Contact Us page, pick a time, and we'll talk, okay? If you're still looking for a CRM, you're not sure which one, I've got a free quiz, bestcrmforme.com. Go check that out, all right? Free quiz, 26 questions. Just taking that will help you realize some things that may be new, maybe you haven't given as much thought to, and that'll help you get more out of your current system or make an informed switch. bestcrmforme.com. Now let's bring on our guest. Todd Hockenberry, hater of love bugs, man. I hear you killed probably 2 million of them on your drive down today, but we'll get into that in a minute. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
Doing great today, Wes. Thanks for having me.
Those of you not raised in the South, you don't know what Todd just went through to make this interview on time. So one day y'all need to rent a car. What do you think? Start in Florida, start in Orlando, and just drive to Miami, or just
drive to Miami
Panhandle in the spring?
You drive to Miami in May, and you're going to run through these little love bugs. They're kind of like fireflies. You folks up north would know what a firefly is. Kind of mate together, so there's 2 of them, and they just coat your windshield and stuff. So I was actually driving. I was drafting a semi, so I was letting him eat them, and I was just running behind him about 30 feet behind him for about 100 miles.
It's a thing, man. I mean, go read the Old Testament. The locusts. The love bugs are worse than that. We pray for locusts in the South to come eat all the love bugs. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is not why we're here to talk about things. You are the author of Inbound Organization. So you and Dan Tyre. And I've been a HubSpot partner for almost 5 years now. Love the platform, love the methodology. So the subtitle: How to Build and Strengthen Your Company's Future Using Inbound Principles. Man, what are you saying? Are you saying no more ads, no cold calling? Are you putting sales trainers out of business? Should I even have you on this show?
You should have us on the show. Have me on the show.
All
The
right.
book came about because Dan and I have both been in the HubSpot world for a long time. He was the 6th employee at HubSpot ever, and I've been a partner since 2010. We were something like the 30th partner ever for HubSpot. So we've been around a long time.
Nice.
So what Dan and I both recognized, we were having breakfast before a speaking event in California a couple of years ago, and we were just catching up, and we both got all excited because we realized that we were both talking about the same thing. And that was that the inbound methodology no longer was sufficient just to grow your business if you just kept it within marketing, right? The traditional kind of inbound methodology was you'd create content people love, people would be attracted by that. You'd have landing pages and forums, you'd convert them with interesting offers, you'd nurture them through the funnel. All that stuff's great, not saying it's bad or wrong. What we both realized though was that because sales had changed, after the sale work had changed in service, and that everything everyone in your business did either contributed to or took away from the experience of the people that work with you, we realized that the most successful companies were taking these inbound ideas, what HubSpot and others recognized 10, 12 years ago, that buyers had changed and they needed to change how they marketed. We wrote about the idea that now with today's buyers, who are changed even more, you better have everybody in your entire business aligned behind these ideas. So it's a similar principle. These principles are similar to inbound, where you're helping first, right? So being attractive with content means you're sharing and you're trying to help someone solve a problem before you try to sell them. So that's something everybody in your entire organization needs to understand. It has to do with treating people like human beings and people, right? Think about the last time you did a service call with somebody and you had to go through the heinous phone trees where press 3 for this or 7 for that, and then you talk to somebody and you get all that they get your information, and then they send you to another department and you have to start over, right? I mean, that's not treating you like a human being, right?
Happen today.
There you go. So these principles are things that were identified and kind of codified under the inbound methodology. And what we recognized was that companies needed to adopt these across the business, right? The legal department needed to understand how to be inbound. The accounting and finance people, service, everybody needed to understand this and act this way. Because if your marketing acted this way and you attracted people, right? So we all know that some large percentage of the sales process happens online before people call you, right?
Right.
So your online presence is selling for you before you ever talk to somebody. Okay, then you get to a salesperson, they do everything right. The sale happens. Now all of a sudden, if your delivery people or your installation people or training people or service people or your finance people don't get it, they don't get the reason that your company attracted this lead in the first place, if they don't get why the salesperson was able to win the business and keep delivering that experience that they're expecting, then you're going to lose them, right? So it's become, sales to me has become a company-wide effort, not just an individual effort. And that's what the book's about. The book recognized, and Dan's a sales guy. Dan, my co-author, he's a sales trainer. He trains HubSpot partners, internal HubSpot people. So he was seeing it from that perspective. I was seeing it from my consulting perspective, working with companies where we were saying, it's not just enough to get a blog out there anymore, right? If your customer service people aren't helpful and sharing great content and educating people like you're doing in your marketing, then there's a disconnect, right? And people were recognizing that. So that's really the general idea behind the book, Wes.
Man, that seems like a tall order. How do we get all these people on board? Because it's always pushback. That's not my job. Well, what am I paying you for? If I got to do all that, why do I even have a marketing department? Why do I have an inside sales department? It's how do you get everyone singing from the same sheet of music?
Great question, Wes. This is one of the central challenges. And what we found was that it's a mindset first, and that the leadership within the organization needs to understand that they can't just throw it over to the sales guys and say, hey, go grow the business by 30%. That doesn't work anymore. It's almost impossible to sell your way out of out of a growth issue. If you're not growing your current business, right, taking care of your current customers in the ways they need to be taken care of, then it's very hard to get net new customers. We all know that it's 7 times more to get a new customer than it is to keep an old one, right? But yet I deal with clients all the time who don't even communicate their value to their existing customers. I just took on a client recently, and one of the first questions I asked them was, number one, do you have a database of all your customers? And they were like, well, it's kind of out of date. And I said, how often do you talk to your current customers? Well, when they need something, they call us. They call the service department. So wait a second. Why aren't you telling your customers all the great things you're doing? They don't know. They assume they knew. So what we did is we set up one simple email and we started to educate them. Did you know that we do this? If you have this product, then you need to look at this. And their engagement rate and sales started to climb immediately because this is from the people that already have bought from them. Right? So I see companies that don't even recognize how to sell anymore with modern buyers. And they think it's all just go pound the pavement, cold call, and get in front of people. And the reality is you need to start with your existing customers. You need to take the ideas of inbound and apply them to your after sale process, just like you have discipline in your before sales process. And then you got to look at every step of the way. You got to look at your finance and your accounting and your legal, and the leaders of the company need to shop themselves and look at how easy or hard it is to do business to each one of those steps. And if they don't like that experience as a leader, if they wouldn't want to buy that way, if they wouldn't want to be treated that way, well, you know what? Then they got to go fix it. I could tell you stories on and on and on about companies that do this, but we see this in our own lives. How many times does a salesperson cold call you and send you a non-value added email or a LinkedIn connection, right? That's not helpful. You're not responding to those things, but yet they keep doing it. I don't understand why. Well, I understand why. They haven't changed their mindset. They think it's still a numbers game. I'm just going to pound these people. I'm going to hit them. I'm going to blast a bunch of emails out there and hope I hit a few, right? Instead of focusing on the target audience, which is a very inbound thing. Pardon me. It's a very inbound thing to focus on a niche audience and say, I'm not going to try to do everything for everybody. I'm going to help these people, that persona. I'm going to understand their buyer journey. I'm going to understand the issues they have, and I'm going to focus on those. Now, going back to the leadership, the biggest issue is leaders think that marketing or sales is responsible for growth, and they're not. The leaders are responsible for growth. And they either understand how to create growth for a modern customer or they don't. And they create a culture that allows marketing and sales to flourish. That's leadership's job. And that's where they have to start. Just did a big consult with a company, a very large company, and they were very numbers driven. They had to hit a certain number of calls and touches a day, very numbers driven, hit your numbers, hit your numbers, hit your numbers. And guess what? They weren't hitting their numbers anymore because that's not what their buyers wanted. Their buyers didn't want numbers. They didn't want the hard sell. They wanted value, and they weren't even thinking about value. They weren't even thinking about helping them. They were just thinking about buy, sell, sell, sell. And again, you can get away with that for so long, but you tell me, Wes, people that you know that are younger, the younger generations, I've got gray hair and I've earned it. The younger generations are going to be even more impatient with this kind of behavior than you and I might be. They're not going to put up with it. So you're never going to sell to a 30-year-old.
Come on, man. Everybody loves the hard close. The alternative choice. I'm going to be in your area on Tuesday or Thursday. Which would be better, morning or afternoon? I mean, do you want it in pink or do you want it in red? Come on. We all love that. You love it when your mom and your grandma and your aunt just get crushed until they buy something, right? I mean, are you really that out of touch? I'm that out of touch, Wes. If you try to close me, I'll tell you what, you try some tried and old, true, hackneyed closing. Give me the Ben Franklin close or you give me any of that. I'm gone. Forget it. I need to do some NLP steepling. Right. No, that doesn't work. Come on, man. No, people will buy when they're ready. When you've helped them change as a salesperson, you've helped them improve their lives, improve their bottom line, reach their goals, become successful. If you can show them that pathway to change, the sale becomes natural. They want to buy. You don't need to close them. I'm not saying you shouldn't ask for commitment. I'm not saying you shouldn't ask for people to not jerk you around and waste your time. I'm saying you should, but I'm not saying you tried some closing tactic or technique and think that's going to get you business. Because if you haven't done the other stuff up front, no closing tactic's going to work, right? I mean, the one that I can't stand, and I still see it, is people say, well, this isn't a deal, you can take it today, or it's, this deal won't be here tomorrow. It's like, I'm not taking it. I never take that. I don't care how good I'm never taking that. I'm never going to put up with that. I don't have to, right? I can just pick up my phone. I can search. I can talk to my Echo in my kitchen, and I can find 53 alternatives to whoever that jerk was. That's the world we live in. That's true. All right, let's run this scenario because what you're saying, I like. And for an existing company, right, they're probably sitting on a gold mine. They just don't know it, right? They're not treating their existing customers well. And it's always been the case. It's like, go get new blood, go over the horizon, blaze a trail, new frontiers. And like, dude, what about what we got? But what about for a newer company that maybe doesn't have that installed client base? How does this work, or how can they make inbound work for them before they run out of money, right? Because the nice thing with inbound, it lasts forever.
Right.
Once you have momentum and you nurture it and you maintain it, but it's like pushing a car, right, that's stalled. It takes a lot of energy at first to get that momentum.
Well, I would say I want to make one other comment real quick.
Okay.
The issue with your current customers is that if you don't treat them in what we're calling an inbound way, where you treat them with respect as humans, think about their value first, and continue to help them, they will not be your customers for long. They will not. They're not waiting for the sales guy to show up on his milk run to tell them what's new in the world. They're not waiting for the next trade show to figure out how to do something better or fix it or do it faster.
Right. They're
going to go find something else. So if you don't, it's an imperative. It's a strategic imperative. If you don't do it, you're going to lose those customers eventually, right?
Sure.
Nobody's that good, right? There's competition for everything. So that's number one. A newer company, a startup. I work with a few startups, though I wouldn't say that's our specialty, but the ones I've worked with, they really get this intuitively. They kind of understand that they have to do things a little differently because they're bootstrapped, they're fighting and they're clawing. So they get content, right? They get helpful content where they're going to share it and they're going to use it to attract people. The good ones I've seen, I've done a really good job at that. Now I will say, you get this too, Wes, right? You're in the HubSpot community, you get this, right? If you're on any of the listings, somebody's scraping your email and you're getting the, hey, I have the best new app for HubSpot partners ever. Just schedule 15 minutes, count my calendar, and I'll change your world, right? That is so ridiculous and terrible. I think those companies, the newer companies, do adopt some of these older techniques. That's so ironic what I just said, right? If you create an app for the HubSpot community, but yet you use non-inbound techniques to try to reach the partners,
right?
How foolish is that?
Right.
But so again, I think it goes to mindset. I think you have to be a little patient because it does take a little time to share and get content out there. But if you're really remarkable and you can create a great story, it'll get out there. And again, I believe in reaching out to people. I'm not one of those inbound people that says, nah, you never cold call, it's all inbound leads. No, I don't believe that. I believe that people need my help, that if I can identify the people that I can help the most, I owe it to them to reach out and say, I can help you. I really can help you, and here's how. If you can nail that and get that persona and get that story right, then all of your marketing is going to be more effective.
Right.
So one of the other mistakes I see newer startup companies make is that they think the bigger, broader audience is better because they say I can get a little bit of a big thing. And it's exactly the opposite. Startup companies need to be extraordinarily focused, narrow audience, very specific, and nail it. Do it really well, better than anybody. And once you get your feet under you, then you can start expanding and going after other niches and other personas. But you're better off being very narrow and very, very specific and unique. It makes you different. So be something that everybody else isn't, and then you're going to stand out a little bit more.
Yeah. But it's hard, right? The talk that I gave last week, I was talking about how boring it is to be great. And the example I used was the band Chicago. Robert Lamb wrote Saturday in the Park in 1972. And they're still performing it, right? Almost 50. Well, they've been a band for 52 years. They joined, created in 1967. So he's been playing that song though for 47 years. And I heard them in 2013. So, that was a long time. He sounded just like the album, but I bet he's kind of bored with playing that song, but he didn't seem bored because it sounded perfect.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd make this as the same equivalent, but I've solved a lot of problems for clients over the last decade since we started Top Line Results. And in many cases, it's a similar set of principles. Everybody's a little bit different, right? But it's a similar playbook. I never get tired of running it. I like the result. I like the outcome. I like where I am when I'm done. I like
Right, but you find typically it's like the same problem. People are dealing with essentially the same core problems every time. And if we try to complicate things, get too fancy, that's all I mean, is that when you're good at something, keep being good at it.
Sure.
And entrepreneurs get in trouble because they want to put in a new widget, put in a new feature, and the next thing you know, creep comes in and they got something unwieldy that they can't maintain because it was boring just being that same guy doing the same thing.
Well, sometimes the people that invent the product or launch it are not the best ones to manage it or grow it down the road. Those are two different skill sets.
Sure.
So smart entrepreneurs are going to bring people in to help do those things for them, and they're going to do what they love to do and do it best. So I would argue that the guys that are in Chicago, I don't know them at all, but I would guess they love the reaction the audience gets, where it's so nostalgic and it's so impactful to the audience that the audience loves it. They go crazy, they sing along. I would think that's that gets them excited about that they created something so cool that 50 years later people are still excited about it. So again, I agree with you. I think that creating helpful content, being the first and best person to help a certain tight niche is it can be very repetitive, but you know what? You're the best at it, and that's the way to make money, and that's the way to grow business today.
Right. Yeah, because you see entrepreneurs all the time. Hey, how you doing? Oh, man, I'm busy. Oh, so many irons in the fire. Yeah, we got this new idea we're launching. Like, dude, you didn't finish launching your last 7.
Yeah,
exactly. Why are you launching a new one? And I think they just get bored. And do you help them stick with it? I mean, do you ever have to just kind of slap them around a little bit and say, stay in your lane?
Well, I think more commonly the problem we see, Wes, is that we have clients that want to jump around from tactics, right? So instead of, let's take that a little different direction. So I call it chasing the shiny thing. If you're a fisherman, that's a good person, right? You put a fishing lure out there, the fish chase the shiny thing, right? Well, there's so much content out there. Everybody says they have the next greatest thing. Oh, this has to happen. There's so many blogs, social media. Everybody tells everybody how to do it. And my clients come back to me and say, oh, I heard about this. Should we do that? Oh, I heard about this. Should we do that? Oh, we should try this. And I actually had a client say to me, oh, we need to make a viral video. I was like, make a viral video. Okay, you can make a video. If you make it really, really good, maybe it'll go viral. But like, I'm not sure you can pay me to do. I'm not sure I'm going to sign up for that one. It's the jumping around from tactics that causes people to have problems in today's marketing world. What we teach is that you as a company, you determine your strategy. You determine your plan and your method of attack and how you're going to add value, who you're going to help, when you help them, how you make their lives better. That's your strategy. You determine that. But once you determine that, your clients, your ideal customer, your persona, they determine your tactics. You don't determine your tactics, they do. They tell you where they want to be, when they want to be there, what content they want to consume, what shows they go to, how they want to connect. Do they want to use chat? Do they like the phone? Do they want to do an email, call them back? Your customers, your prospects, your target audience, they tell you how they want to be, the tactics you should use. Right. If they're online and they're listening to podcasts like your audience is, then start a podcast. You got to understand where your audience is and then be there. So that's what we teach. And that keeps people, I think, from jumping around to tactics, because when a client comes to me and asks me about a tactic or a new social media thing or this or that, it's fine. I'll just say, okay, what does the customer think? Is the persona there? Can we create some kind of test to determine whether your ideal audience is using this channel or this tactic? If they are, great, let's go. But if they aren't, then we're not going to do it, right? And that's another kind of inbound principle. You're going to measure and test everything. You're not going to guess. We're not going to do this because the CEO thought it was a great idea. We're going to do it because it works and because it helps other people.
Yeah, but Gary Vaynerchuk said 95% of all my new marketing spend should be on Snapchat. Oh, wait a minute. No, that was 2 years ago. Oh, wait a minute. That was if I'm catering and marketing to younger than millennials. Okay, never mind.
And he also says you should hustle and all that stuff, and that's great. But you know what? I don't really want to work 18 hours a day. I'd like to be really smart and work 6 or 7 hours a day, help a bunch of people, and make a nice living and be comfortable. Why do I?
Man, I
don't
thought
even
you
want to
were
go down
like this
that road.
committed professional. I mean, that sounds like lazy work. Good grief.
I want to work smarter, not harder, right? And if I'm smarter about what I do, then I can help more people faster. If I'm mediocre at what I do, then I got to work 14 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Why do companies consistently get in trouble with the same things? Right? Because, I mean, we're brought in to fix problems, and it's the same problems typically. Is it tunnel vision? Do they just, the entrepreneurs, the leadership, they take on too much, and then everything's a priority, therefore nothing's a priority, therefore nothing really gets done, and the inmates are leading the asylum, right? How can they self-diagnose, or is it even possible to stay on the right track?
Well, it's interesting. I think there's, I just had a prospect reach out to me. I'll tell you a quick story, Wes. I had a prospect reach out to us maybe 2 months ago. Came through the normal kind of inbound channels, built credibility. They kind of knew us already before we ever picked up the phone, said, need some help. I said, great. Did a discovery call, kind of got the lay of the land. I said, okay, I got it. So let me go back and kind of come back to you with an idea. So we did a follow-up call, laid out our ideas, and he liked the idea. He says, okay, let's move forward to proposal. So we got to that stage of proposal, and he just wouldn't pull the trigger, right? He told me he wanted to do it. He was going to sign and get started, and then he didn't, and then he started to negotiate and back and forth. And I finally just said, I think I know what your problem is, and you really need my help. And, you need to accept the original proposal, and it's going to go in a little different direction, because I can tell by the way you're treating me and the way you're acting in this process that you need to change a little bit about the way you think. And then I started to kind of shop him a little bit. I talked to his receptionist, and I kind of got a sense of how they ran their business. And I was like, yeah, the way he thinks and the way he treated me was the way he runs his business. And that was the problem. It was that it was everything was a cost. It was not an investment. It was all short term, and it was not disciplined at all. There was no discipline in his thinking. There was no focus on the business and no vision of where he wanted to go. So therefore, when I came in, I was just another one of those tactics he was going to try. And when I pushed back and said, whoa, no, I'm not going to be one of those tactics. I'm going to really try to help you. It kind of freaked him out. And I think he's gone, but that's okay. He may come back in a couple of years when he realizes that he does need to change. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, that's our job as salespeople, right? Our job as salespeople is to be so good at what we do that people say, you're right, I'm not doing things the right way. Unfortunately, too many salespeople today just want to sell something. They just want to get the sale. So, okay, great, I cashed a check, I got the sale, but did I really impact them? Did I really help their business? Did I really fix it? And I see that in the agency world. I know that's the world we're in, where we're brought in on a regular basis to work with HubSpot HubSpot customers who've had issues and haven't seen results because in working with another agency. And the reason is that most agencies run some kind of playbook. They say, well, for this level, you get this many blog post emails and an ebook, and you go to the next level, we'll give you more of that, right? There's kind of this formula and playbook. And the reality is, I don't think it works all that well anymore. And that's too simplistic. That's a tactic, right? We've got to get in there and understand their persona, understand their process, understand how their buyers buy, talk to their buyers, hear it from their perspective, and then come back and make a recommendation. You can't run the same playbook on every single customer, right? Not everybody's the same. So I think as salespeople, oftentimes we give up that authority by just trying to make the sale. So good salespeople are going to step back and say, whoa, we're not a good fit. If you're not on board with creating content and making your subject matter experts part of the team, and you're not committed for a long-term implementation where we're going to really optimize your site, and we're going to create some new content, and we're going to interview, even before that, we're going to interview your prospects, we're going to interview your customers, we're going to understand what they're doing. Unless you're really committed to this process, right? Then we're not even going to take the job, because we know that you'll some other company will sell it to you, and they won't do those hard things. They'll just create some mediocre blog posts and mediocre content, and guess what? They're not going to grow. And then they're going to go fire them and find somebody else, right? That's a sales issue, if you ask me. It's not a problem with inbound marketing or HubSpot. It's a problem with the people that are trying to sell it.
Right.
And I think that's a model. That's an issue I see in a lot of different industries. I'll ask salespeople why they're better, why they're different, why shouldn't I try one of their competitors? And oftentimes they'll struggle with really understanding the value of what they do and why it's better and different and really helps people. And we'll do interviews with their customers, and we'll come back and we'll say, okay, we talked to 20 of your customers and they said this is why they bought from you. And I've done that dozens and dozens of times. And every single time I come back and I get the people shaking their head going, I can't believe that. I never heard that before. I had no idea. They don't even know why their customers bought from them. It's very common. So, I think it's a sales issue to a great extent. And one of the things I wanted to mention to you, Wes, I don't know if you know this or not. I know you were doing your background on me to see if I got one on you. I just finished teaching a class in sales at Stetson University in DeLand, Florida. They have they have a sales program. You can get a major in sales. And I taught
What?
what? Yeah, exactly.
Well, what?
What? It's a great program. And the kids are awesome. And the kids are coming out of this program, and the companies are lining up to hire them because these kids come out of college knowing they usually have a technical background or some specific skills, but then they get a major in sales and they know how to sell, and they hit the ground ready to go. Their kids are amazing. And so what I found was that this idea of value was a really hard one to teach. I thought it was kind of natural to me, right? But when I started to really teach it, the college students really conflated benefit with value. And they were struggling with how to add value in kind of, I had to teach it to them, but after the end of the semester, they kind of got it. But it got me really thinking that I noticed that with clients and salespeople, that they don't really understand the value that they bring to the marketplace. They too often will start with features and benefits, and they think that's value, and it's not. It's really not. So anyway, I was total distraction, and I went down a side road there. But
no, that's cool. Do you make them sell you this pencil, man? Do you?
No, I didn't make them sell me the pencil. But what I did was we made them start at the beginning, and they had to run an elevator pitch, right? So they had to pick a product and give me an elevator pitch. I made them get up out of class and walk around and actually give me, while we were walking around, do an elevator pitch. And then we went into a role play, and we gave them a handful of scenarios. They could pick the one they liked, and they had to go through a discovery meeting where they did needs identification, kind of an initial meeting, and then they had to come back and do another role play where they presented and dealt with objections, and then they had to kind of get me as the buyer to move to the next stage. Mm-hmm. And it was very fascinating. Number one, I would ask, I'd be curious to know how many of your listeners, the salespeople, have actually done live role plays like that. It's hard. It's not easy, and it's not natural, and you have to really be on your game.
Right.
And it was a great teaching tool because we would record them, and then I could type comments that would be matching the recording as it was going through. So it was a very good teaching tool. And these kids really they learned very quickly how to make a presentation that was tied to value. And I didn't want to hear about features and benefits, because as soon as they'd go into features, I'd be like, oh, I read that all on your website. And they would be like, and again, I mean, I'm not sure how many people that happens in real life, but the reality is I think one of the things this class taught me was that I'm going to teach a lot more value and understanding value, how to create it, how to recognize it, how to communicate it to my clients, because I think it's a huge hole.
Right. So what is good content today? Is it the epic blog post, the 1,500 word blog post? Is it infographics? Is it a combination of all the above? I mean, because you see things that they have evolved. Right? I remember, 10, 12 years ago, it was frequent content, shorter, keep it fresh. Now it seems to be longer content. Now video is moving in. What's right today?
I don't think those are all tactics, if you ask me, right? You got to start higher up and say great content is strategic. Companies need to have a strategy for creating great content. it is no longer just the low-level marketing person's job to create blog posts, right? It is a strategic issue. Again, if we all believe that 70% of the sales process is over before they pick up the phone and call a salesperson, or 60 or 80 or whatever business you're in, then by default, all that other stuff that's happening before that is going to be content online. And if you're not creating great content, then you're going to fail at that upfront piece. So that's why it's a strategic initiative. I would say great content is, again, whatever that persona is looking for. In general, though, I would say blogs still have a lot of legs. Good blog posts help you in a lot of ways. They're shareable. They're good content for email campaigns. They help you with your SEO. They are current, right? Having regularly scheduled content that's dated sends a message to your audience that you are serious about helping and sharing and being current. So that tells you something. I think blogs still have a lot of legs. Video is obviously pretty amazing in terms of, I deal with a lot of people that make products like capital equipment, and creating videos on how-tos and how this works. And I mean, it becomes this virtual trade show that works 365 days a year, 24/7. So again, showing people through video how they derive value from your product, right? Don't do feature benefit videos, do value-based videos. How do they really solve their problems with your products, right? That's what's going to stick.
Yeah.
So again, you can see how this all fits together, right? It's all a mindset. If you're thinking this way, right, then that's the way you're going to create content. That's how you're going to market. That's how you're going to sell. That's how you're going to set up your service department. And that to me is the issue. And content's always going to change. There's going to be new Snapchat, Facebook. There's always going to be something new, right? They're going to go away. Something's going to replace them. I'm really hoping Facebook goes away soon too, by the way. That's just my little rant on my part. There's going to be other channels. There's going to be other techniques. And don't forget about the classics, right? Go see somebody. Go see them.
Like
go
in person?
In face-to-face, yes.
Let them sneeze on their hand and touch my hand. Are you serious?
I drove from Orlando to Miami, 4-hour drive through rain and love bugs to be at a show tomorrow where there's going to be 15 people or so that I want to meet because I'm interested in having them on my podcast and I want to get to know them better, and they're all here, right? So I'm making the effort to be there face-to-face. I think events and event-based marketing are fabulous. I think trade shows still have a place. I think you can create your own little event within a trade show. You get these people in a room, in a hotel room, in a conference room. I think people still want to be connected to people. That's never going to change. Right. And if you want me to take you seriously as a salesperson, don't be lazy. Don't hide behind email and voicemail. Come and see me. If it's everybody thinks they can do things over Zoom now and they get the same experience, and they don't. They don't. So
no, it's not again, the same.
Yep. And I think using
but decision makers are hard to reach. Right? I mean, they don't answer their phones anymore. I don't think they ever did, but I mean, they are hard to reach.
But if you can use LinkedIn, use referrals, get in front of them, right? And then get to these events where they are, and you have a better chance to meet them and spend some time with them. So again, think outside the box. Don't think that the tactics are going to get you where you want to go. Put yourself in that buyer's shoes and the persona's shoes and think, well, if I was them, or talk to them and say, how do you consume information? How do you evaluate new products or services? How do you solve these problems? And then do those things, right? Don't just assume that you can bombard people with emails and boring, bad LinkedIn connections and think you're going to get anywhere. That's not going to work.
You mean you're not going to offer a free strategy session so we can kind of get to know each other and
For you, Wes, I would give you a free strategy session.
Maybe find some synergies where we can kind of form the symbiotic relationship. Come on, man.
Well, again, relationships are I love relationships, and you got to think relationships. And we've had clients for almost 10 years, so I have a relationship with them. I know their families. Socially, we've seen them. We've gone out to many lunches and dinners, right? So there is a relationship there. But at the beginning, the reality is, it's a different kind of relationship, right? It's you gotta prove value. You've got to bring something to this, or there's no relationship. Trust me. right? You think you're getting along with your prospect and you're doing great and you're talking about the Masters or football or something, and I got a great relationship with this guy. Yeah, guess what? You fall off the value map and you don't bring it, you're not, you're ghosted, baby. You're out.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
you all know it, right? So don't
Right.
think that you're going to have this great relationship just up front, just because you're a nice guy or a nice lady and you build some nice rapport. Don't mistake rapport for a relationship.
Right.
If you're bringing the value, then you have the opportunity to develop that long-term relationship. But that value and that helping them first is what's got to happen.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. Rapport does not equal relationship. I like it. All right, man. You got a website. Should we send them to the assessment? Is that the best place you think?
Yeah. For the book, Inbound Organization, we did an assessment where you can there's about 30 questions, take about 10 minutes to get through it, and you can get a sense of and a score, and you can see kind of where you stand.
So if it's totally confidential, right? So like if I take it and I score like really bad, you won't tell the whole world that I'm just like a charlatan or something, right?
No, and you'll see the score. It'll pop up. We're not asking for your email or anything. We're giving it away, and you can see your score, and there's a scale there. If you want the report that goes with it, then you have to give us your email, obviously, so we can send it to you. But we don't require an email to do it. You can just we're giving away value. We're doing what we say you should do, right? We're giving people some helpful things. If you like the ideas, if you like the book, then reach out to us.
Shut the front door. You eat your own dog food, right? You follow your own processes. What is the world coming to?
I don't know. It's crazy.
All right. Well, enjoy Miami. Thanks for making the schedule adjustment to make the interview, man. It's been great.
Thank you very much, Wes. And I appreciate you giving me the chance to talk to your audience, and keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
That's the plan, sir. Thank you very much. What a novel concept, huh? Help first. Treat your customers like people. I remember I got a screenshot. It's on my computer from, a couple months ago. Somebody posted on Facebook basically saying like, wow, who knew? I guess it's time to, in selling, to serve, right? The focus is to help people. I did a screenshot because this woman was like literally, it was news to her. And it was amazing. Professional salespeople know the goal is to help. Zig Ziglar always said it. You can get whatever you want if you help enough people get what they want. Selling comes from the Norwegian word that means to serve. There's just some greedy jerks that have bastardized the meaning by just being in it for themselves. And so people just paint with a broad brush and they say everybody in sales is like that. And that is not true. We all have contacts, people that we know in the insurance industry, in the car industry, attorneys, right? Things that we like to pick on as people, not being good or being cheesy, being pushy, being aggressive. But we like those people because they're professionals. That's why you're listening to this, right? Because you are a professional. You want to get better. So that's why I had Todd on. The principles of inbound, it's how I've grown my company. Really, after the first year, I pretty much have been inbound. I eat my own dog food. I create content like this. I write books. I write blog posts, videos I put on YouTube and Vimeo, embed on my website, social media, driving people back. You can do it too. So go back and listen to this again. As the owner, right, it's up to you to make this happen. You're responsible for the growth. Focus, buckle down. I was just interviewed this morning before I made this intro, and I was talking about, how to handle an elevator pitch, how it's really should be an elevator question, but knowing why it is people, why do they buy from you? Understanding that it's not your job to convince people. It's your job to put out a compelling message that disqualifies bad prospects as much as it qualifies and attracts the right prospects. So, are you putting it out there like that? Your great content, it is strategic, but you got to think through this and really narrow down the niche. I was talking this morning on that interview about, Chick-fil-A versus In-N-Out versus McDonald's. Before McDonald's got into chicken and salads and yogurt and everything else, breakfast, they got really good at making hamburgers, delivering a consistent meal fast and affordably. Hamburgers, French fries, Coke, and a malt. And you know what? That's worked for In-N-Out. They haven't deviated. It worked for Chick-fil-A. So maybe you're McDonald's, maybe you're Chick-fil-A, maybe you're In-N-Out. But regardless, you got to focus on one thing and become great at it. Then you can expand if the opportunity is there. Too many people quit too soon and they go chasing shiny objects, and that's why you get in trouble. So buckle down and focus. If you need help buckling down and focusing, if you need help finding that message, maybe you got too busy. I'm working with a mortgage broker right now, and very successful guy. So successful, he was able to spend over $150,000 on consultants and marketers that screwed him up 3 in a row. It's bad. But still, he's swinging. So that's good. But these other consultants took away his voice. They did too many cookie cutter things to his business. Now he looks like every other mortgage broker out there. And if you look and sound and quack like everybody else, the only way to differentiate you is on price. So we're getting back to basics with him, letting him put his voice out there. He used to blog. He used to do direct mail. He was a great marketer. It's how he grew. It's how he had enough money to be able to survive, several years with bad consultants. I mean, literally spent probably $500,000 on people and redesigns and ad campaigns that didn't work over the last several years. So we're getting back to basics, letting him find his voice. So if you need to clear out the clutter, if you've become McDonald's and you need to get back to being In-N-Out, I can help with that. All right, bring me in. Let's drill down. Let's find your voice and create that compelling message. You do not need more traffic. I'm willing to bet that for everyone listening. What you need is a better, clearer, more concise, more compelling message. You don't have a traffic problem, you have a conversion problem. So unless you have dialed in with 100% accuracy and knowledge that your conversions are as great as they can be every step along the way, then let's talk. Okay, once you get your message clear, once you optimize your conversions, now you can spend as much money as you want on marketing and advertising, because now it's just a math problem. Once you know your numbers and you're profitable, then you get more traffic. Then it's fun. Then you shut your competition down. So if you need help shutting your competition down by clarifying your message, hit me up, okay? thesaleswhisperer.com. Let's talk. You'll get a link to my calendar. You get my phone number. We'll see if we're a fit, okay? But as always, thanks for listening. Now go sell something.